Good afternoon. Welcome to C&T Collectibles. I am C, and today we're going to talk about a couple of players that are going to affect the hobby just a little bit here. Some injuries have happened, and it's part of the game, but it's never a fun thing. But we need to address how we kind of deal with it and move forward. And so, starting off with Luis Robert, this was a player that had a ton of hype coming into the season and has actually performed really, really well this year. He was an above not only above average, but an elite level bat. Home runs weren't there, but under the surface, there was some BABIP things. But he was hitting the ball plenty hard and a lot of doubles. And as the weather warms up, you'd expect him to have a really nice season. On Sunday, he awkwardly crossed first base. And initially, they thought he might have stressed his tender flexor or flexor tendon or something like that, right hip flexor. I'm not a doctor; that's the wife's job. But thought it was a strain, but now it is a complete tear, out 3 to 4 months, and so that is going to affect his card prices to an extent. Now, a lot of the chatter I'm seeing on the forums of people saying this is a buying opportunity. He's a 22-year-old player with a lot ahead of him, and yeah, it certainly could be. So we'll take a look at that in just a second here. The other player we want to touch on, of course, is Dustin May, who's having an incredible season. I mean, he was lights out. He's pitching even better than his metrics would suggest, and he's going to undergo Tommy John, so he's going to be out for a minimum of a year is how that one works out. And so what do you do with these guys? And we talked about this with Eloy, and I sure don't like doing these kinds of videos, but sometimes the right thing to do is to just don't just run, sit there, or the opposite of the don't just do something, don't just stand there, do something, the opposite of that. And that could be a decent play here. So let's just look quickly at Card Ladder, and I think I've got Dustin May ready to go here. And so you can see a lot of selling come in. This changes his long-term prospects, perhaps. What is he, 24, 25 years old, misses a year. Is he going to pull a Jacob deGrom and come up at like 27 and just be lights out? Who knows? But, $50 is kind of your next level of support here, and I think the prices make it down to that area, but they could easily slide below that. Bottom line is it may be too late to sell these guys, and a lot of times what you want to do is just take a step back. If you have to, you have to, right? If you don't have to, take a step back, watch the dust settle, and just see where a lot of buying steps in, and then you can kind of get back in at that point here. So this is fairly thinly traded. $50 is your support, but it could easily slide and just pierce right below that as people say, the heck with it, I don't know how this is going to play out. I'm done. So I think if you don't have to, it's probably worth just kind of waiting, unless you're sitting on hundreds of these, then start peeling off. But if not, just kind of sit back and see what happens here. LouBob, same thing here. We've talked about him for a while. He's been downtrending for a while. When he gets up to that $150, $155 range, that's kind of your sell. When he gets closer to $100, that's where you buy. And so that he's at that area now. We're looking for pull back to maybe $60 or something like that. But yesterday I did a video on some of the bigger followers, and I think that his cards have probably, especially in the 2018 Bowman Chrome, have fallen quite a bit actually, and probably enough. And again, I think there's a lot of people that are more interested in buying his cards, and at this level, it seems interesting. There's not going to be that catalyst, there's not going to be that chatter around him, maybe until playoffs at the earliest this year. But this is a terrific young player, and I don't think people are going to quite abandon him. So Dustin May, you could see people just be done with it. LouBob, I think you're going to see people show a lot of interest. Now, if it breaks below this, then $40, $50, and I think that's probably even I'll be interested at that point. But for now, again, you want to just kind of manage your risk at all times. A lot of these things are sudden; they can happen. There's nothing you can do about it. But if you're paying attention, then you knew in that 150 area there's a lot of selling, and that was the time to kind of peel off. And now it's probably too late to do that right now. So again, let it settle and see how things progress here. But importantly, what you want to kind of figure out is, what are you going to do forward here? And I don't think there's going to be a lot of money that comes into either of these guys. Maybe there's more sellers than buyers, or in the case of LouBob, maybe people are like, I'm happy just to sit and wait. They're not going to sell at these levels, and maybe you don't have a lot of people step in to buy, but you need to consider alternatives. Where's your money going to go now? They're probably not going into these guys, so maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But anyways, I went through this with Eloy, and it's a little bit heartbreaking, and I just don't have the energy to deal with this again. And so I've got a friend of mine that he's newish to cards, but he's very interested. But he doesn't say a whole lot. Um, but I'm going to hand it off to him, and he's going to go through a couple of options. Now, he's a little bit aggressive, so maybe it's not right for you. But just check out what he has to say, and just be nice, okay? Just be kind. Leave a like. Don't say anything, because I don't want anybody. He can kind of fly off the hook a little bit. I don't want anybody disintegrated or anything like that. So we'll hand it over to him. Hope you all have a great rest of the day, and happy May the 4th.